to thank all of you for joining us here today for a very special announcement, which fittingly is coming at the culmination of the Small Business Week. Our Launch New York team is especially grateful to be hosted in this thriving, productive facility right here of one of our portfolio companies, JECA. Plus, we're joined with additional portfolio companies, Arbel, Cahill Tech, as well as Patient Pattern. And again, thanks to Reed Dolnick for hosting us here. I especially want to thank those who made today possible. Congressman Brian Higgins and his amazing team, especially Teresa Kennedy, working closely with our team led by Mike Zabel to really take a moment to focus on this celebration. And I want to welcome the press here today for this announcement, because this is a new development, not just for Launch New York, but actually for our entire community. So did you know that Buffalo is home to many things? We think of chicken wings and we think of the Buffalo Bills, but it is also home to the first and only nonprofit venture development organization serving the western half of New York State, supporting startup companies with pro bono mentoring as well as seed capital access. Our mission is to identify, support, and fund these amazing founders behind us, those who really are growing our new economy. What's the ultimate goal? To create jobs and wealth that fuels the renaissance that we have all been seeing unfold before our very eyes. So what does this really mean on a day-to-day basis? So many of you, and it's so great to be surrounded by people we've worked with, in many cases for years. What it really means is that we have an incredible honor of working with these amazing innovators. In fact, 300 to 350 entrepreneurs every single year are working with Launch New York to bring their innovative ideas to reality. We want to turn those into high-impact, high-growth businesses right here in our backyard in Western New York. So our support starts with free mentorship to help the companies become investment ready and to create that entity that will grow. We provide that support from over 36 experienced entrepreneurs and residents. And amazingly, we can tap into an even broader network of mentors and consultants. In fact, over 500,000 strong through our National Mentor Network of individuals who can help with individualized, specialized needs, business, technical, as well as investment readiness. Plus, we even have more pro bono services because we, too, have developed specialized programs. Our Founders Go Big program for underrepresented and underserved founders, as well as our Emerging Clean Tech Opportunity Incubator for green tech businesses. So it's terrific to help with the mentorship that I've described, but it is incredibly powerful when you pair that with the seed capital, which is so hard to access in this region. So we provide a unique set of Invest Local financing programs. And another big shout out for Buffalo. In fact, our nonprofit seed fund is the most active seed fund in all of New York State, including downstate. And in fact, we're one of the most active in the country, and we're named among the top 5 nonprofit seed funds in the US just last year. Plus, we have our limited partner funds because guess what? The private sector wants to support this growth of new businesses as well. And so side by side with our nonprofit fund, they're putting their money in hand with us to support your efforts. Even more, because we really like to put a punch into the work that we're providing and the support, is we've created the only, yes, based in Western New York, the only digital network of investors, in fact, 275 accredited investors strong, who are specifically investing in businesses right here in Buffalo, New York. So the history, how did this all come to be? That's kind of the fun part of the story, because 10 years ago, this was just an idea. And we knew our region had this problem that we had to solve, and that's what got us thinking as a community. How do we support entrepreneurs with a big idea? Since startup companies, you may be surprised to hear, are in fact accounting for job generation at the greatest amount in our country. So if you look at where new jobs are coming from, it's companies less than 5 years old. So we knew we had to do something to grow that new economy here in Western New York. Sadly, at that time, our region was only receiving 3% of the venture capital invested in New York State annually. So these numbers made it really daunting to think about building the kinds of businesses you all have been here. We wanted entrepreneurs to build their scalable businesses here rather than leaving town, or worse yet, letting your life-changing phenomenal ideas actually die on the vine. So we also wanted to ensure that everyone in this community had a shot at having the resources they needed to take this journey. It is a daunting journey to actually become an entrepreneur, but it becomes even more challenging when you don't have access to the right resources. So in fact, Launch New York has invested the majority of our funding into underrepresented and underserved founders. More than 75% of our capital fuels companies in low-income neighborhoods, those who need our economic renaissance most right here, right now, and today. So from the inception of our big idea to serve our region's most promising entrepreneurs through a model like Launch New York, guess who was there to support us? Congressman Brian Higgins was there along with his amazing team, literally from day one when we said our region needs this. You have shared our vision here, and you have supported us by bringing federal resources to us now, all the way since 2009, I believe. So it has been a continuous process of working together, but only being able to do this because of your support. So since that time, I want to assure you we've been a good steward of your dollars, and we've built the infrastructure to create an inclusive, thriving economy through high-growth startups. So altogether, in 10 years, we have served pro bono nearly 1,500 startup companies, and those companies have accounted for nearly 5,000 jobs in our community. Since big ideas are as diverse as the entrepreneurs who dream of them, we support startup companies from all industry sectors, from startups manufacturing delicious, nutritious foods, such as Jekka, to new tech companies serving under-resourced college students, like Arbel does, or the next generation of construction workers who are served by Cahill Tech, or value-based healthcare served by Patient Pattern. You'll hear more about all of those in a moment. We've invested more than $10 million to date from our unique array of Invest Local Capital Access programs. And in total, we have over 325 accredited investors who've joined this effort with us and see our mission as part of where they want to put their efforts as well. Like our name says, we are launching these companies to be investment ready, not just for Launch New York's money, but for other funders that we have attracted from far and wide. In fact, we have seen that our portfolio companies have leveraged the money we've been able to bring them to attract more than 20 times in additional capital from other investors. These investors, again, far and wide, nationally and globally recognized venture capital firms who were not putting money here when we first started this effort. And our portfolio companies are generating their own impact, nearly $230 million in annual revenues. We're prepared to build on this momentum, but we know we cannot do this alone. We never could, and going forward, we need more help than ever. So we welcome others to access our resources and join our mission. We need entrepreneurs with big ideas, founders like those behind me here, you'll hear from in a moment. Plus, we need engagement from mentors who are ready, willing, and able to share their experience and pay it forward. And we need investors who want to invest locally so they can do well financially while they're actually helping a community they really love. And of course, we depend on sponsors and funders, which brings us to today's announcement. So to bring you the exciting news, I'm pleased to introduce our longtime advocate, supporter, and true hometown hero, leading New York's 26th Congressional District, Representative Brian Higgins.
Thank you, Marnie. Thank you very much. There's nothing left to say. This is great. Small business ownership is the backbone of the Western New York economy. Over the past few years, more and more people are exploring entrepreneurship and looking to open small businesses. Between 2021 and 2022, a record 608,000 small business applications were filed in New York State, including many right here in Western New York. As our economy rebuilds and recovers from the COVID-19 pandemic, accessing resources to fund and grow small business can be challenging, especially for entrepreneurs in underserved communities. Today, during National Small Business Week, we are joined by Launch New York and several local businesses that have seen support thanks to this organization's support and mentorship to announce $1 million in federal funding. Headquartered here in Western New York, Launch New York is the first and only not-for-profit venture development organization that provides pro bono support to early-stage startups in New York's 27 westernmost counties. Secured in 2023 in the 2023 federal budget, this funding will provide critical support toward Launch New York's expansion program, which aims to increase the volume and impact of its pro bono mentoring and preparation for seed capital investment for high-impact startups in Erie and Niagara counties. Designed to support inclusive economic recovery and reach under-resourced entrepreneurs, the program intends to reach 1,000 current and potential entrepreneurs and serve 180 startup companies. Launch New York will offer weekly group and individualized mentorship, investor education, and company referrals for investment in virtual and in-person formats, as well as technical assistance for company financing. Investments in small business drives economic growth, creates jobs, and supports hardworking families. Buffalo is home to a diverse group of entrepreneurs and small business owners that play a critical role in our community, and we must make sure equitable resources are available to help them rebuild, recover, and rise from the COVID-19 pandemic. Questions? Do you want to have?
Not quite yet. I always have more to say. Everybody knows here.
I know my place.
So on behalf of our team and the entrepreneurs, the mentors, and the investors whom we connect with and support every day, we want to thank you for this incredible set of resources that we are, again, honored to be the steward, and we will be a good steward to yield the greatest impact for this community. We know that the volume of people out there who are trying to recover from the pandemic and entrepreneurship being an idea in their minds, that is growing every day. And us being the open door, the open access place for them to get that help, we're prepared to do that, but we really only could do that through the support you've brought, not just through this amazing new appropriation, but also the support you've provided for a good 10 years. So we really appreciate that. What I want to do is give you a taste of what you've allowed us to bring to this community. We are just that catalyst and the steward. It's the people behind me who had all the great work and the great ideas. So I'd like to give you this chance to hear directly from those who've really benefited from all your support over the years. Every one of these founders has a unique story, but every one of them has been part of the Launch New York family. Each of them has participated in both our mentorship, and they all have been funded by Launch New York. So that's what we call a portfolio company. And I kind of consider them my children. This is my family that I need to take care of, and they need to be working with Launch New York, but they need to then leave the nest and grow beyond what Launch New York starts. So we really relish that role as the first in line to help these companies with what is often called the first institutional funding. So the first one, let's start with our awesome host today, Reed Dolnick, founder of Jekka Energy Bars, who was gracious enough to set everything up for us beautifully here for a wonderful session today. But here we are, again, we're starting with Buffalo's Tradition Manufacturing. So take it away, Reed.
Thank you so much, Marnie, for all your support, and from Launch New York and Congressman Brian Higgins. Thank you. So my name is Reed Dolnick, and I'm the founder of Jekka Energy Bars. We are a women and minority-owned company, and we really believe in providing a healthy snack nutrition made in a way that we know that everyone's going to love, not only in taste, but in truly beneficial way. And this was a difficult idea to really communicate with all of the noise out there from the public. But Launch New York heard my story and really supported us. And for us, the role of Launch New York was truly existential. I mean, without their support, we wouldn't be here today. Through Launch and the EIR support, those are the mentors that work with us, we were able to connect with other resources, such as Startup New York, which this facility is part of. We were able to connect with NICOR and the Center for Excellence in RIT to develop our equipment to really make these healthy nutrition bars that we're providing. And we've worked with multiple other New York State funded programs, which has really gotten us to where we are today. And we're so truly, truly grateful. And I am happy to say that now we're finally in a position to be scaling. And we recently were told that we now have distribution through New York State, Connecticut, and through Northeast region with Whole Foods. And so I'm hoping that as we grow, that we're going to be interacting more with Launch New York, and we have a wonderful story. Thank you.
Awesome. That's great. Every day there's a new story coming from the companies we work with. So I love that. Whole Foods, here we are. Great work. Congratulations, Reed. And the Jack bars are here, so we want everyone to make sure you enjoy them. They're delicious. Next, shifting gears a little bit on sector from manufacturing to tech. So I'm really pleased to introduce another dynamic duo that really is making waves in our community, David Gonzalez and Fabio Osorio, two co-founders who themselves were first-generation college students who have created an inspirational and impactful company called Arble, supporting underrepresented, under-resourced college students.
Thank you, Marnie. Thank you, Congressman. So we're building Arble, and it's a financial wellness platform that helps colleges reduce dropout in their schools. We do that by providing them financial support on a day-to-day basis so that they can better manage their finances in an expedient way that keeps them focused on their academics, while empowering colleges to intervene when students do run into trouble. When we brought our idea, or just had the idea, Fabio and I were working full-time at M&T Bank, and we're looking for a way to make that transition to full-time. Luckily, we were able to get our first check in to allow us to make that transition from Launch New York, and allowed us to go at it and really run some experiments that allowed us to get to where we are today. Through that process, we had exposure to mentors and just other folks and leaders in the space that kind of helped us to develop our go-to-market strategy and develop our product. And it's also allowed us to broaden our network and get access to universities and colleges that we probably wouldn't have had access to otherwise. Happy to announce our product is currently in beta. So we're currently testing with 3 colleges right now. We'll be at 8 colleges, 2,000 students this coming fall, and start generating revenue for the business. So I'd like to thank Marnie, Jay, and everyone else who's helped us at Launch New York, and Congressman for helping to fund this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lots of great announcements today, more than we maybe expected. So this is awesome.
We won't see these guys again. We'll be like Montreux.
Next, I want you to meet someone very special who's been working with us. Special for a lot of reasons. Carly Hill, a founder coming from the construction industry, which is not so commonly a place where you're going to find a woman doing great things. But she saw a need and took her deep experience in that industry and has actually now created an award-winning platform for training the next generation of construction workers. Carly.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate all the media for being here today. My name is Carly, C-A-R-L-E-Y, Hill, from Cahill Tech, C-A-H-I-L-L Tech. And, you know, when I first started this process, I was not at all understanding what it meant to code product or document training in media-oriented ways. But I knew we had a huge labor gap in the heavy civil construction industry because I was living it every day. And so tech seemed like the big one missing equation, part of the equation to get the next gen workers into the industry. Our mission is to bridge the labor gap in the heavy civil construction industry. And we're doing that by making trades-based training available to anyone, anywhere. And we use technology and media to advance the methods of training for blue-collar frontline workers. And I'm so excited to say that the way that we were able to get there was through very strategic and supportive investors, Launch New York being the first and the most exciting for me as a founder, because it was helped me to take that idea and make it real. And so we have been able to make really cool things happen through continuing investment with Launch New York, like localizing for Spanish. Did you know 1/3 of construction workers in America are Spanish speaking first? So those are some really cool things that we're making happening because we're democratizing access to trades-based training for people who really want to get into building the infrastructure we all count on every day. I think we're all going to drive on a road home after this. And so, you know, we can't honestly, as a scrappy little startup, make those things happen without, you know, those strategic and loving partners like Launch New York and so many other investors that we've been able to bring to the table because of that confidence that Marnie and the team has had. And I'll just tell you right now, running financial reports and having a mentor by my side to do that helps with sustainability. It's one thing to get it started, a whole nother thing to keep it going. And so those mentors that are really there to ask those hard questions, you know, and really make you think critically is essential in business. And so as a founder, I think I really value that as much as the capital, maybe sometimes more. And so I think one of the two, actually, things I'm thrilled to announce today is, one, we were selected as the Higher Education Workforce Innovation of the Year by the New York State Business Council. That was just recently announced, and so we'll be getting my award on my birthday, which is really fun. And then the other big announcement that we just found out about is we won the contract to be the selected site safety and training inspection services for the Bill Stadium project. So we're really excited to be building a workforce funnel right here in our backyard, helping people who are from marginalized communities get access to that training, get on board, and get to work right away. And we'll be out there doing it so we can all raise the roof and Josh Allen scores that winning touchdown with his team. So those are some of the things that we're making happen. And thank you so much to not only the Launch New York team, but also Congressman Brian Higgins has been there for both sides of the market that I serve, not just the tech and investment for startups, but also the infrastructure industry. And so he really has his backyards back in Washington, and we really appreciate that.
Thank you, Carly.
Okay. All right, well, last but definitely not least, because in fact, I guess I'm officially announcing today that the co-founders of Patient Pattern have joined us for this session, but in fact, they are no longer clients of Launch New York.
See?
And why is that? Why is that? It's a good thing. They're no longer clients because Patient Pattern, after explosive revenue growth, has been acquired by its Canadian customer, Point Click Care. And Point Click Care will continue to grow the Western New York operations, but take this company to even greater heights than these amazing founders have done. So I want to introduce both Margaret Zare and Dr. Steven Buslovich.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you, Marnie. Thank you, Congressman, for being here. I'm going to speak to you a little bit about Patient Pattern, why we're here today, but we're not here to learn about Patient Pattern. We're here to support this ecosystem that Marnie and the Launch New York team have created. I actually came up here from Brooklyn, New York. I'm Dr. Steve Buslovich, a geriatrician and medical director for post-acute long-term care facilities locally as well. And I wanted to bring technology to improve senior care and start Patient Pattern. And when you're creating technology, it's a very lonely ecosystem to be in a startup. And you need all the support you can get, not only financial and from a capital perspective. You need guidance, you need mentorship, and you need support during difficult areas. And most organizations are quick to say no, but I think what's unique about Launch is they find a way to say yes. And that's really what got us here. And if it wasn't for Launch, to stick their neck out, to lead our initial seed financing and essentially get us here in multiple rounds, not just one, over the years, and support us during COVID through difficult times where we actually found a way to change course and find our new product market fit for a flagship product called Care Coach, where we now service value-based care, health plans, and provider organizations to change the course of healthcare for senior care delivery. And I think what's really important is you can't do it alone. It's really about the team, and every company requires a unique set of supports and resources. It's never the same. And so Launch New York really tailors their supports, their network to the individuals in the company. And I couldn't be here without my co-founder and one of our first investors, as well as first employees, Margaret Sayers. Maybe Margaret, you can share your story.
Sure. Thanks. Thank you very much for being here today. My name is Margaret Sayers, S-A-Y-E-R-S, and as Steve said, I am one of the co-founders of Patient Pattern. As Marnie said, she thought that she was the mother of all of us. And I want to tell you that when we started, I had 2 men by my side and myself, and they called me work mom. And they still call me work mom, even though I'm now retired. So it was a wonderful journey. From the very beginning, we were introduced to all the services of Startup New York, and they always were there to guide us and support us. And as a result, we were able to get into the software, healthcare, digital world much more quickly than we would have if we were on our own. So yes, as Marnie mentioned, we were acquired recently and purchased and merged with a very large electronic medical records company. And we're so excited about that because we know that that will expose our software that we believe brings a great deal of value to healthcare. That will be exposed to an ever-growing market and that they have. So we thank you, Startup New York, Congressman Higgins, for all the support that we have gotten. We know that as our software is expanded and introduced to more users, it will not only benefit them, but it will benefit older adults. Our mission from the very beginning was to improve healthcare for older adults who need comprehensive and competent care. And our software was designed to guide that level of clinical care. So we're grateful that it will be introduced to more and more people. And we thank you again for all of your support.
Thank you and congratulations. You are inspiring everyone behind me and the 300 plus other companies we're working with at any given time to see that this is a journey. It's the longest overnight success that people imagine, but it's that support throughout. And all of your businesses have an incredible impact. So here you are helping us create a new Silicon Valley Buffalo style. That's really what we want. We love this community and seeing the jobs here and people being attracted to not only start a business here among those who live here, but being attracted now to come to Western New York because of the momentum that you are all having. Incredibly powerful, and I again want to thank Congressman Brian Higgins and his entire team who worked so hard. There's a lot of phone calls going on, and I know Teresa and Madeline are here with us today, but there's a lot of people involved in the effort, and Kristen is here too. And we just look forward to continuing to show you the results of these resources and the power that they provide by bringing those back to Western New York. So what we want to offer right now is that we can take some, the congressman and myself can take some questions, and the entrepreneurial geniuses behind me will be here after for questions as well. But at the moment, any questions for Congressman Higgins or myself?
All right, you just kind of run down the range of businesses. You've got written manufacturing, like we're talking digital, you're talking, can you kind of tell us what kinds of stuff is covered here?
Sure. Tech is very popular right now, so there's no question that if you look at our 1,500 companies that we've served, you're seeing a good proportion with a tech component. In fact, tech is part of almost everything these days. So for our portfolio, we do see probably about 30% technology-based businesses, but the healthcare piece starts to overlay, such as in the case of Patient Pattern. And because Western New York actually has such a strong healthcare and life sciences effort that's been going on and been funded for some time, we do see probably 20 to 25% of our businesses in that sector as well. Then you certainly have manufacturing. Love to see the food manufacturing companies, which are well understood. But we also have a number in Western New York where they're providing components into maybe new clean energy products. So we as consumers really don't know those products, but Western New York has a rich history of contract manufacturing. So many of our companies are in that space. We have companies that are doing new battery technologies. And sometimes people are daunted when they hear, gee, these are some really confusing and very technical businesses, but there's all different aspects to these businesses. So for us, consumer products, exciting space, and it's much more understandable to people. So Jekka Bars is one of our greatest examples. But food and beverage for Western New York is a growing sector as well. So for us, the only requirement we have is that you as an entrepreneur have a vision towards a business that could have 10 million in annual revenues in 5 to 7 years. Most of our companies have little or no revenues when we start working with them. So it's all up here. It's all in the mindset that you can grow your business and grow that big idea right here. And we're willing to hear your story. So we love to have people just apply online, and we will talk with them within a matter of days and start that journey. And some of these journeys have gone on years with us, and that's what we're here for.
Congressman, a one-time shot of money, do you think this is something that can keep coming, or what?
There's nothing one shot about this group. We evaluate the value to the community based on requests that we get, and obviously Launch New York has demonstrated great success, and we will continue to support them and all of these extraordinary individuals. There are other funding opportunities within a nearly $6 trillion budget. This is just one, but clearly they have distinguished themselves in terms of their credibility and in terms of the outcome that they produce. And it has what's referred to as the multiplier effect, which is beneficial to all of us.
The person will come and identify or spell her name with the management.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to have you both, say your name and then spell.
So name is Ree, R-E-E, Dolnick, D-O-L-N-I-C-K.
The title of the company?
Jekka Natural Foods
What's your
Corporation.
title?
Oh, I'm the founder and CEO.
Cool. David Gonzalez, D-A-V-I-D-G-O-N-Z-A-L-E-Z. I'm co-founder and CEO.
I guess I'm always interested with these public-funded startup programs. What percentage of your startup capital is coming from these publicly funded programs, and what's private that you're starting with on your own?
Boy, that's a long answer.
I guess the question is, when someone watches this at home, can they say, I'm going to apply to Launch New York and start tomorrow, even though I don't have the capital myself?
Yeah, so that is our perfect client right there. Because we know that a lot of the startup businesses, you go to family and friends first. And when your family and friends can give you that $5,000 or $10,000 or even more, suddenly things accelerate. But as you've heard here today, it's not all about the money. It's also about the mentorship, the experience, and the guidance. So for Launch New York, we do require that companies come in and join the mentorship piece first. So we're mentorship first, preparation over a minimum of 3-month period to apply for our funding. And really, the dollars need to come from various places over time. So the reality is typically startup companies are not going to find public monies to support them except through, there are some grant programs, and certainly COVID has seen a lot of those come to the fore, but you will always need, in a high growth potential company who's growing quickly, you've heard that expression, the hockey stick growth, that doesn't come just by revenues that are coming in as you start the business. You're going to need to raise more money, and that private sector is critical. And I have to tell you, I'm just incredibly gratified that at Launch New York, that raised our first limited partner fund during the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, I thought, oh no, I'm not going to be able to bring these resources to bear because everybody will pull back from investing. But the opposite happened. And we saw that investors in our community stepped up and said, we have even more reason than ever to help the community we love. So the response of our community to the pandemic and realizing that entrepreneurs were the answer to a lot of our economic issues and the growth that we needed has been incredibly rewarding. Any other questions? Okay, great. Well, we are well on our way here, and again, want to welcome you to stay, and we can do some interviews, and also Reed does a great walkthrough. While it's all a footprint, you see there's a lot of detail and work that went into creating this here. So I want to wrap up today, again, just thanking you all for joining us. I know we're all very busy, and a beautiful Friday finally in Western New York. People would love to be out and about soon. Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like the good weather came just in time for our great celebration as we wrap up also Small Business Week. So thank you again for your support and everyone joining us, and have a wonderful weekend.
Welcome.
Thank you.